on my phone on YouTube to see questions, because I think there might be, if I get a few people to show up, we'll have a Q&A.
True. Okay.
Am I hearing an echo? You can hear me okay?
I can hear you, yeah. In fact, let me just close my window. I hope it's
Okay.
not just from my side.
Grace, I think we can just wait for a few more minutes, maybe 2 minutes or so, then we start.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see how many people have joined. I think I'm only seeing one. So we will start when we get 3 people.
Okay, no worries.
Yes, and then I'll just record and share later.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Grace, I think let's just begin because I'm recording the conversation anyway, so the people who will join late will find it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so guys, welcome to this live stream or this recording. I don't know if you will manage to find us on the live stream. If you are late, you will find the recording. But today it's very exciting. We are celebrating International Day of Women in Science, Women and Girls in Science. And we have phenomenal Dr. Grace Ateka, who will take us through her son's journey, the inspiration, brief journey, what she's currently doing in science, and highlight challenges and opportunities, pieces of advice for girls, for women in science or in STEM generally, I think. So Grace, yeah, tell us, let's start from I was watching a video, and there is a term that I don't think I had heard before, and that is dosimetry. What is dosimetry? I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but yes, tell us who you are and what you are currently doing.
Okay, thank you, Gladys, for this opportunity. And I'm very glad that you've gone online and watched one of the videos where I talk about dosimetry. So before I even say what dosimetry is, I'll begin by saying that dosimetry is my first husband.
Okay.
You know, yeah, that's my first husband. So then I'll dive into it and explain to you what exactly I do. So dosimetry is simply measurements of radiation. For example, when you go to hospital, you'll find people use X-rays, people use CT scanners, people use Linux systems, and these Linux systems have to be calibrated. So dosimetry is where we do calibration of these systems just to ensure that when you're going to have an X-ray, you are getting the correct amount of kVs given, and ensuring that the image quality of the X-ray is perfect. When you're going to do a CT scan, what I do as a person is to do what you call calibration for the CT scanner. So then my work is to ensure that the CT scanner is working perfectly. This ensures that you're not going to be exposed to unwanted radiation, and also the quality of your image is going to be perfect.
Mm.
Same to the Linux system. So what I also do in terms of Linux is I ensure that it is calibrated. By doing that, remember Linux is used to treat cancer in patients in hospitals. So what I do is when you're going to be treated for cancer, I make sure that you're being given the correct dose of radiation through calibration.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Calibration. Now I remember calibration. I remember, and I think now
Yes.
I'm starting to remember where I first heard of dosimetry, and that was calibration. I think we were doing, was it machines, introduction to machines or measurements, something like that in campus.
It must
Yeah.
have been
Okay.
measurements.
Sorry.
I'm saying it must be an introduction to measurements. Yes.
Yes. Okay, that is very interesting. Now, tell us, did you ever, where are you working at?
I'm currently working at Kenya Bureau of Standards as the head of dosimetry. Yes.
Okay, amazing. And I'm just curious to know because what I'm currently doing and where I'm currently at, I never imagined that I'll be here. So I want you to reflect back to when you were a young girl. Are you here by design or by chance? Like, did you imagine you will be heading, or you'll be a physicist doing all these things at CAPS, or were you imagining something different?
Okay, when I was growing up as a young girl, I wanted to be a pilot. So
Okay.
every day, yes. So and then my dad will always remind me, for you to be a pilot, you have to be extremely good in math. So I grew up being very, very good in math, and I will also do very well in sciences. So when I finished my high school, I joined the University of Nairobi. But before I joined, I still wanted to go and do to become a pilot. But my dad is like, no, but I don't have enough money to pay for you to become a pilot. Maybe you can try and do physics. So then, but I'm here wondering, what am I going to do with physics?
Yeah.
And then it tells me, no, you can just try and see where where it will take you. You can just go in. If you don't like it, maybe you can change, but just give it a chance. So
Mm.
that's how I joined the University of Nairobi back in 2007. And then I
Mm-hmm.
began doing my BSc in physics at the Chiromo campus.
Mm-hmm.
So now, during one of my long breaks, what I used to do, I never used to, the 3 month long breaks that we used to have that time, I never used to stay at home. I will go and look for short internships at various organizations. So at this particular time, I tried at Kenya Bureau of Standards, and then they offered me a chance at my second year of study at their department called metrology. Metrology is simply calibration. But by that time, I didn't know metrology is calibration. I thought metrology was weather. So I
Mm.
was wondering, why are they calling me to go and do weather? And I have told them I have done physics. And I remember I even called the HR at Kenya Bureau of Standards and told them, you know what? I wanted something that is related to physics, but you guys have called me for metrology, and I'm not taking that internship. No. Then the guy told me, no, 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 please just report. If you don't like it for the first week, and then you can go. But at least give it a chance. So then I walked into Kenya Bureau of Standards, and then I realized, no, metrology is not weather. It is actually calibration. And then I also realized that they have 14 labs. And these 14 labs are actually a summary of what I have done in campus. Because when you're doing physics, this is what we call material science. You talk about pressure, you talk about temperature, you talk about dosimetry. And then that is how I ended up in the dosimetry lab then as an intern. Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
after that, I came back again after in my now third year of study. I came back again at KEMS as an intern for 3 months, but I was purely based in dosimetry. And then again, after my fourth year, they accepted me again there. Yes, and then I realized, no, I have some love for this dosimetry thing that is going around with me. Yes. And as an intern, I remember I would do all the work, and I used to be very excited. Yeah. So that is how I ended up in dosimetry. And when I finished my fourth year, you wouldn't believe it, but actually KEBS came for me. And they told me,
Wow.
there's a job here for you. And that's how I got my job here at KEBS. And I remember
Okay.
initially they offered me a contract. And then I'm like, why are they giving me a contract other than giving me a permanent job? So I did a regret letter and said, no, I don't want a contract. I will only consider this offer if you give me a permanent job, which was so weird because everybody that time wanted a KEBS job. Everybody was fighting for a job. And so I think maybe probably whoever saw my letter was wondering, why is this girl refusing a job? But I said no. And then they called me for the permanent job. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you did not struggle. That is a first, like one of the few graduates who landed a good job. But I'm sure there is a reason why they came for you, and I'm sure you must have been an excellent intern while you were doing your job, and also all the other things that I think you were involved in campus, and so you are an excellent candidate. I'm sure that is why they came back for you.
Actually, when I finished my campus in 2011.
Mm.
I did other jobs first. I joined private sector, and this time I was working we were installing X-ray machines, calibrating X-ray machines, and doing maintenance for X-ray machines before I now joined KEMS in 2014. Yes.
Mm.
So by
Okay.
then they had two people in the lab, and they didn't require an extra person. But in 2014, someone left, and then now there was a vacancy for an extra person.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so that is how I got at KEBS. Yes.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
when you reflect, because I know there are many. We have so many women in science. Actually, I think the number has been growing. I mean, the number is smaller than we want, but the number has been growing, and we have so many women and so many girls in university pursuing all these science subjects, and or just generally who are in uni. When you reflect back to when you were at the University of Nairobi, what are some of the things, and I think I've heard you mention including like joining networking communities or mentorship. What are some of the things that you think or you would advise women in especially in colleges to pay attention to so that they set themselves apart for success when they graduate?
Yes, first thing that I always want to talk about is, you see, when I was doing physics, remember I told you when I was going to do physics, I kept on asking, where am I going to work with this physics? Because it is not easy for you to know that if you've done physics, there are opportunities. So one thing that I would like the young women to also do is immediately you get, for example, if you're doing mathematics, if you're doing physics, if you're doing biology, try to identify your potential employers. Because I remember for me in the long holidays, I will never sit at home for the 3 months. I will always seek an internship. And by that time, I think things were much easier because every time I will apply, I will be picked. Yes, but I think maybe this time things could be difficult, but it's important for you to know what you really want after you've studied. What do you really want? Where do you want to work? Where do you see yourself? So at least for me, I was able to identify that, you know what, this camps is really a good thing and this is what I have done in school and I love this. Yes. So one of the things I saw that my other colleagues were struggling with, they didn't know where they could work. Yes, you don't know whether you're supposed to go to ICT, you're supposed to go to, that is one of the things. Then about networks also. You see, I always encourage young men to be networked. Like, for example, if you know me and you really require an internship at KEBS, Kenya Bureau of Standards, I can simply assist. If you know somebody else in another organization and you really want an internship, but you can only get to know me if you are in, like, for example, Nuclear Society of Kenya. If you are a member of Nuclear Society of Kenya, you're able to know there's somebody called Grace who works at KEBS in dosimetry. She might be of help. You're able to meet and more people, and these people are going to raise you. Yes, yes.
Mm, amazing, amazing. Yeah, the issue of networking, it's something that I'm now truly appreciating years later. And I wish someone had told me the way you're just giving this piece of advice. I wish someone had told us in campus to leave the library some days and just go network, attend conferences, just throw yourself in, just invite yourself to events, to seminars. Grace, there were so many. Well, I remember when I was back in campus, there were so many engineering, because I studied engineering, so it's still like science, STEM-ish. There were so many events, and I used to see my colleagues organizing this engineering seminar, bringing someone to talk to us, and I was like, why are you guys wasting time? Like, I want to go to the library, I want to score all these A's, and I feel like I lost so many opportunities in that sense, and I wish that is also something that I wish I'd known earlier, that just occasionally close your books and attend those seminars. Invite yourself to events, and you never know who you will meet. So I love that advice.
Yes, and also it is also important. You see, for example, if we're having seminars, I have done some. I've joined some seminars, Technical University of Kenya, University of Nairobi, where we talk to young women. And through just having me talking and you attending the seminar, you'll be able to know that if you're doing physics, it is not only chems you can work on, you can work at. We have nuclear power, we have Kendra, we have so many organizations where you can work at.
Yeah.
Which is something that I also appreciate because even me, when I was joining to do physics, I was asking myself, Sasa, what am I going to do with this physics? Those kind of questions you ask. Yeah, and I remember even in campus, at times in the middle of the class, when you're doing there was this hard unit called mathematical physics. So it was so hard that every time the lecturer left, we used to curse and say, why are we doing these hard things? How are they going to help us in life? But now if you know that you can, there are a lot of opportunities in physics, then it opens you up. By the time you finish, you graduate, you might struggle getting a job, but eventually it will come through. Yes.
Truly.
Yeah.
Tell now that you've mentioned about getting internship and all that, I just wanted to ask, in case there is a fellow, there is someone who admires you and they want to come into dosimetry, and they are now they are, because I think the only thing we know from KEBS is that they've checked our milk, our oil, and we don't think about the calibration behind the scene, at least for me. And when I saw that you work at KEBS and you're doing an amazing work, I was like, wait, by the way, it makes sense that there are engineers and scientists behind the scene, doing like behind the scene of like the technical work behind the scene. So in case there is a woman in science and they're interested in dosimetry, and now they've bought this idea of coming to KEBS, how do you normally have internships? I think we had mentioned, I don't know if you still run internships. What is normally the best way to, I don't know, get an opportunity, say at KEBS?
Yes, at KEPS, usually what KEPS does, we offer internship for every 3 months. So we have quarterly sessions, January, February, March, the first, April, May, June, and then July, August, September, then October, November, December. So you simply just walk in and you drop your CV. And as long as you're doing physics, my organization has more than how many labs? More than, I would say, more than 16 labs that are purely physics. So when you walk to KEBS, you meet physicists. We have very few engineers, but majorly we are physicists here. Yes. So there
Okay.
are a lot of opportunities here, and KEBS takes like annually we take a lot of physicists just to join our team. But for internship, you simply just walk into the HR office, or you can even contact me and come with the right documentation, and then you'll be given the opportunity. Yes. And there's no charge, there's no payment, there's no somebody telling you now you have to pay for an internship. No, no. Yes.
Amazing. So women in physics, those who are in campus or recently graduated, I would say maybe they can just contact you on LinkedIn and draft a
Yes.
nice a nice message, say introduce yourself, and then attach your CV and mention that you got to know about Grace here and you got to hear about this opportunity here, and then yeah, you can. Thank you for sharing that, Grace. My
Yes.
question, my next question is, when you now started working at KEBS, or rather, I want you to paint a picture of like day-to-day work for you. I know it's been changing, and I imagine now as a manager, you are more of managing people.
Yes.
But like, just what is day-to-day work like as a physicist in the lab?
Okay, when I began, you are right, because right now I'm not so much into the lab, but I still get back to the lab and do the real calibration because I love, that is what I love doing. I'm very passionate about it, so I still do it occasionally. But when I began my career, what happens is customers will walk in with the equipment at camps, and then when you get in the morning, that time I had a boss ahead of me. You'll be allocated work and told now you need to do this calibration, you need to do this job, and then you take measurements, you expose, you have your x-ray exposed, and then you take what it measures, and then you compare your equipment with what the customer is reading. Remember, KEBS is the standards body, so we have the standard equipment. So what happens is you compare your standard equipment with what the customer's equipment is reading, and then you do what you call a certificate and say whether it is complying. If it's deviating, you also say the variance is huge. Or at times you give what you call a correction factor so that the hospital can just use to correct their equipment with. Yes.
Okay. And when you think of, just pick one challenge and one thing that is exciting about your job as a dosimetrist. I don't know if that is a word. And one thing that is what that you consider, like, if someone else was to pick it up from you, you would just abandon that, like something that you don't enjoy so much during your day-to-day job, and one thing that you really enjoy.
During my work,
Yes.
I one thing that I really enjoy is doing what you call setting up of the equipment into the beam profile. So let me explain a little bit, because remember we are using radiation to do calibration, and radiation comes out as a beam of light. So one thing that really excites me is just that positioning, that's ensuring that my equipment is within that beam of light, because it's quite a long process and it's very challenging. But once you are able to ascertain that now your equipment is with where you want it to be, it just excites you. You know, you're happy about your work. Yes, yeah.
Okay, and what is one thing that you don't enjoy so much?
Okay, this one I'll have to say it. What I don't enjoy so much is dealing with people.
Okay, why am I not so surprised coming from a woman in STEM? I mean, I'm stereotyping, but yes, I think we love the work more than yeah. Tell me more.
Dealing with people is, I think, is one of the challenges that we have. And remember, as a woman, when you are working, for example, when you're working in dosimetry, you have to work 3 times harder than your male counterparts, because everything you do is like, people still have this mentality: she's not good enough, she's not good enough to be here. You know, you have to struggle, you have to do 3 times other people for people to see you are now where you're supposed to be, unlike our male counterparts. And then also, now in my current position, it is not easy for you to supervise people of the other gender also. I don't know, because of our African nature. I don't know, because in the way Africans were brought. I know we don't have to talk about these issues, but these are real issues. The way you are brought up in a way that now the man is the head, and I see this with most of my colleagues, even at work. Like, you'll find that it is not easy for me to tell somebody do A, but if a man tells them do A, it's it's easily done than if it's coming from me. Yes. So one of the things
Mm.
I really don't enjoy doing is managing people. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I think I can see that. I can see that. I can see that. How many now that you talk about those challenges, and I think we have to talk about them because it's International Day of Women and Girls
Yes.
in Science. Yes, and I know we still a minority. So how do you number one is how do you navigate? Like how do you navigate those? Because I'm sure those challenges have never stopped you from dreaming big and pursuing bigger goals and achieving your milestones. So number one, how do you navigate that? How do you navigate those challenges?
So one of the challenges that I've told you is this whole idea that you have to work hard. This one I keep on saying, and I'll keep on saying, as a woman, prepare yourself to work hard 3 times harder than your colleagues. So I don't think there's an option with that. You just have to work hard. And then the other thing on how I try to navigate is, at times you are a manager, but you still have to do everything on your own. You have to try and just work, and if you want something done and you're saying, please, so and so, you can do this, you can do this, and you feel like it's not being done, you still have to step in and just do it. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is really sad, and I hope it will change. That is, I was reading connected to what you've just said, because I've definitely also experienced being a minority, or like being a woman in STEM. There is this book I was reading. I'm forgetting the title, but the whole idea was I'll get the title. I think is it negotiation, and it was just pieces of advice for women in corporate or women in STEM or women who find themselves a minority in any setup. And there is this concept called tokenism, Token, that when you are saying the only woman in a group of 10 guys, you are a token because you are different in that group. And when you are a token, when you are the only one or few of you who are different from the rest of the group, there is a lot of pressure to kind of prove yourself that you can do the job. and
Yes.
and
Yes.
and, and that is very difficult, and so the authors of the book were suggesting that the easiest way to remove the burden is to increase the number of those people so that there is not a minority at any given time. Like if you have 5 women and 5 guys, it's a different topic. Or if there is no one particular person feeling like a minority in the group, it helps. So hopefully that changes in the coming years. Number two, I wanted to ask what is the ratio like in your department? I'm already imagining, like, this is physics. So I'm already imagining the ratio is a bit out. But how many
Yes.
women do you have? Yeah.
Okay. In generally, as an organization, as KEBS, remember KEBS has a lot of departments. We have HR, we have what. Generally, the number in average, we are doing better. But for my department, which is a physics department, I'll be very honest that the numbers are not good. As much as we are really trying to match up, I would say we are maybe a quarter.
Okay.
The numbers are not really encouraging as I would have thought they would be. But the overall now, when you look at KIPS at all, as a whole, the numbers are better. Yes, actually, KIPS
Okay.
as a whole, we are maybe 50-50. Because remember, most women will work in HR, procurement, testing labs. We have a lot of women, but in my department, no, we're still trying to do a lot. But also, again, I think we have improved. When I joined KEBS back in 2015, you could hardly see a woman. And now I will walk on the corridors and I'm like, what is happening? What is happening in these corridors? Yes. And then those days, it's not a long time ago, but also I would realize that there are some labs like now Volume Lab where they do calibration of large water tanks and all that. So anytime you hear that they want to take a woman in that, you'll hear, no, she will not be able to handle the large water tanks. And then we have another lab called Mass Lab where you're expected to carry weights as you do the calibration. So you'll hear, no, we cannot have a woman. But I have seen women who, as interns, who come and they do that. They really do very well. And I'm like, so why are we always, when it comes to employment, why are we saying a woman can't handle this? Yes. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, as we are moving, and then again, the organization is really focusing on automation. So we will not have that challenge of saying a woman cannot do this, a woman cannot do that. Yes. In fact, even in dosimetry, when I came in, I remember KEBS had two gentlemen in dosimetry that time, and actually I'm the first woman in dosimetry at Kenya Bureau of Standards. And I will hear people saying, now a woman, how is she going to work there? You know, radiations have side effects. How is she going to give birth in future? It was not like people, it was like some rejection, yes, but I'm already here. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And when you were already there and it's something that you wanted to do.
Yes, exactly. And remember,
Yeah.
when I was an intern, there was nobody saying you cannot go there and do ABCD. But now, when it comes to a job, there's some, oh no, but now people will even call me. Hey, maybe I think we should advise you, you know, the radiations are harmful. But I am an expert, you know, I know radiation is harmful. I know how to prevent myself. I know how to take care of myself when I'm working in this area. People will call me and tell me, hey, be very careful. You might never give birth. So that fear, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe it comes from maybe some of them are not knowledgeable in dosimetry the way I am. But remember, they're telling me, and I'm the expert here. Yeah.
Mm,
So I think from that time to this time, I can see less resistance, not the way it used to be previously. Yeah.
mm. Oh, and
Yeah.
hopefully it gets better. Hopefully it gets better.
Yes,
And
yes. I'm hoping
yeah,
so.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
actually
And
looking forward to a time where I'll wake up and I'll be like, we are 50-50. Like the ratio is 50-50. We match up the whole general KEBS ratio 50-50. Yeah.
yeah. I'm looking forward to that day as well. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm not surprised now that I know a little bit of your journey and your dreams and the way you're breaking barriers and breaking glass ceilings. Yeah, you were named top 40 under 40 women, and I'm sure that is not just the only one award or recognition you've gotten. But yes, let's talk about top 40 under 40. How did you feel when you were when you were nominated and when you were listed in that prestigious list? Um, yeah, tell us about it. Tell us about that.
It was quite interesting because whoever nominated me, first of all, didn't even tell me they were nominating me for that. I did an interview for what I was doing in the lab. And by the way, I also have to say this before I talk about top 40 under 40 that for me as a woman, I have been really lifted up by my fellow women. Like when I got into dosimetry, I got a mentor who was also in dosimetry, and she's currently working at IEA, who has really lifted me. And when I did my video with Caroline Tuko, She actually nominated me for the top 40 under 40 because she came and she saw what I was doing in the lab and she was like, this is good work and you deserve an award for this. And she actually nominated me for that. So I say that, I hear people saying women are work against women, but for me, it is the other way. Actually, it is women who really put me, and that's why for me, mentoring other women is also very key for me, because I've been brought up by my fellow women. Yes. So for the top 40 under 40, I was nominated, and I didn't know until that time that I was called by one of the people, the NTV journalists. Now they wanted to do an interview, and then they're calling me and saying, "Is this Grace? We wanted to interview you." And I'm wondering, interviewing me? What do you mean? We need your profile. We need. I was so excited. Yes, I was very excited about it, and I was happy that it is exciting when you're doing something that you love and people get to recognize that truly you're doing something that is really making a very big impact in the country. Yeah. Uh, Gladys, I don't know whether you can hear me, but I can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted.
It is, sorry, Grace. It is my mic.
Sorry. Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
no problem. So let me reconnect. I'm not sure if that will help. I think you can. It should be fine now.
Yes, I can
Yeah,
now hear you. Yes.
yeah. My tiny microphone ran out of charge.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
No worries. But yes, let's talk. I was asking about mentorship. I'm also passionate about mentorship because as you rightly mentioned that we, even personally, I feel like I've been mentored, and other people have paused, other women and men, they've paused and literally like intentionally looked back and kind of lifted some of us up. And so personally also I'm very passionate about mentorship. Let's talk about mentorship. Talk about women. I know you are one of the founding members of Women in Nuclear Kenya. Talk about
Yes.
mentorship and all these other opportunities that you are intentionally creating for women.
Okay, so in terms of mentorship through Women in Nuclear,
Yeah.
we've done a lot of mentorship programs. One of the major activities that we've done for women is back in 2021, we partnered with IFNEC, one of the nuclear organizations, and we did a mentorship program at Kabarak University for young women and young men. Now, for this particular one, we combined both the young ladies and the young men because there's this arising issue that we are saying we've empowered women to a level that there's no men who can match up to their standards. So now, because of that, we had to combine the group, but it was for high school, the young generation in high school. And then the other major one that we did was for young career women, that is back in 2022. This one was fully supported by the IEA in Mombasa, Kenya, where we had, so this one was for the whole of Africa. We had young women from all over Africa in Mombasa, and we are able to give them career talk, our career journeys, and just share our experience. And at times as you share your experience, somebody will get inspired. Somebody will get to know one or two. And then we've also done another one in this the ones I'm mentioning are just under Win Kenya. We've done another one in some county in Machakos, where we went to a high school and we did a mentorship talk for the ladies. We supported them in one or two things, for the whole day. We had lunch and we just encouraged them to work hard and get their dreams achieved. But apart from that, at a personal level, I have done a lot of career talks for young women, just encouraging and telling them, what, you will be able to get what you can, you'll be able to get what you can achieve. There's another one that we also done with Kenya Young Generation in Nuclear, where we partnered with a lot of organizations. We actually had uh, East Africa Association of Radiation Protection, Women in Nuclear, and Kenya Young Generation in Nuclear. And we went at Nova Pioneer also to talk about science. Yes, just empowering women to take science seriously. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And how do women and girls, or whoever is interested in these mentorship opportunities, how do they get to know about these opportunities? I imagine is it like through a website? Do you advertise in advance?
Now, for the ones, remember, for the ones we go to high schools, those ones we don't like really advertise, but we go to them. And like I remember the one for Machakos, we also partnered with Nupea, and that one specifically was a request from one of the board members who really felt that the young ladies needed to be inspired. So that one we went to them. But for these other opportunities, you'll find them in the KYGN website. You'll find them in the Women in Nuclear website, in the WhatsApp groups of Women in Nuclear, WhatsApp groups of KYGN, Physics Society of Kenya, the LinkedIn pages. You'll find them all over in social media. And this goes back to what we talked about networking. Because if you're networking, at least you should be in one of these groups. If you're a young person who's keen on in science, at least I expect you to be at least a member of Women in Nuclear or KYGN or remember all these societies, they have a special rate for students. While others are paying 2,000 for students, they only charge like 500 to be a member. So I think it's something that all the young women can really embrace and make sure they're at least in one of the networks, just for them to get to network and to meet people. Yes, yeah.
Certainly, and I totally encourage that, and I hope girls or women can take that up. Uh, let's talk about now that today we are doing this in celebration of the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Let's talk about what does this, do you normally celebrate this day actually, Grace? Like, what does this day mean to you? Yeah, are we doing, should we be doing more than is this enough, like setting a day to celebrate women and girls in science? Are there things that governments or institutions or whoever can do to support women in science?
So now, to answer that, let me talk about my organization, what my organization does. For Kenya Bureau of Standards, usually during this day, we always do a video celebrating one of the women in science. And I think in some previous years, I have done maybe two in this, some previous, maybe in 2021 and 2022, I did such videos for kids just to celebrate women in science. But then I realized, no, we need to get more young women to do this because now I look like I'm the cover of women in camps. So this last year we did a video for someone else, and even this year we've done a video. I think probably I can also share what we've done just to celebrate women in science for this day. For this is for camps, but I feel that that is not enough. And I also feel even for in our networks like Society of Nuclear in Science, Women in Nuclear, I feel like yes, we are doing something, but I feel it's not enough. For such a day, I would expect that we'll have maybe several mentorship activities. Maybe we will be going to the University of Nairobi talking about women, University of Technical University of Kenya. Like we'll have a lot of activities geared towards celebrating this, and maybe we'll have a challenge or maybe have something like an award and say today we are awarding the young scientists, something like that. Yes.
Okay, so there is space for more initiatives and
Yes,
activities.
there's a space for more initiative, and we need to make it. You see the way we celebrate Valentine's.
Yes.
When you wake up in the morning, it is red all over the place. We need to make it that, because even today, some people don't even really know it is a day for celebrating women in science. We need to make it so random that on that day we keep it women in science all over. We need to make more noise about it. Like I feel like we are doing something, yes, but we need to do more. Yeah.
It's good you mentioned Valentine's because I actually I feel like Valentine's is not only one day because I was on TikTok and people are already warming up and preparing for
Ex-
the day. So I wish we could do
Exactly.
it throughout the week as well.
Exactly. So I think for women in science, we need to begin like maybe a week earlier and then we hype it, like something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But at least within our small group, we have purpose to do that. And actually, we should mention that on Saturday, like this is something that we're still planning. But on Saturday, there will be another live session. And so, for some of you guys who missed this live session, purpose to attend the Saturday one, we'll share the joining information a bit later. But yes, back to you, Grace. Um, I want you to reflect back to when you were. Did you say you were in primary when you wanted to be a pilot, or in high school when you were
In
hoping to
primary, in primary,
be
yeah.
primary? Oh my goodness!
In primary, yes.
People ask me what did you want to be in primary. I can't recall. But anyway, that is super commendable. If you were to go back and assuming your dad has money now, would you choose physics or would you go the aeronautical aerospace and be a pilot?
I think I will choose physics. I
Okay.
will choose physics. Yes.
Why?
Uh, it's difficult to say why, but I will have to say this here. First of all, I would like to tell people physics pays. People assume that I don't know whether I should use this example. When you're doing physics at the University of Nairobi, you'll see the lecturers coming in. And those days, the lecturers were, the way the lecturers are doctors and professors, they don't care about cars and everything. So they will be walking. And it is really discouraging for a young person to see this lecturer has done physics for 50 years and he does not even have a car. So, so you are worried. You are wondering, okay, is this how I'm going to be when I do physics? So I would like to say physics is a good field and it does pay. You have to focus, you have to put in work, but it does pay, yes. So if
Okay.
I went back, I will choose physics. But now you see, I also have a disadvantage because now I never go to be a pilot. I don't know how it is, whether it is easy or it is difficult, but I'm comfortable. I'm sure I will choose physics again. Yes.
Okay. Good to know. It's all right.
Mhm.
Tell us about. I want you to actually let me mention because I think we have some few guys who are live streaming. Guys, leave your questions. I don't know if you are able to comment on YouTube, and then I'll check and we will answer your questions. So drop your questions for Grace. Grace, I wanted to ask. When you also reflect back to when you were young, what is actually not even when you were young, like just generally as a woman in science or woman in physics. I mean, kwanza physics kwanza inakaa inashtua, it's a heavy subject. So you've done very well. What is I don't know if you will share the best career advice someone has ever given you or the worst career advice, whichever. Choose one of the two or two of them. What would you say? One best career advice or one worst career advice someone has ever given you as a woman in science or woman in physics?
So one best career advice I've ever been given as a woman in science is never give up. Yes. When you do something and you fail, There are usually two options. You either quit or you try again. So normalize trying again.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And let me before I ask my final question, because we are now running into like 50 minutes of this recording, and I see new people coming in. So welcome, guys. We are almost ending, so feel free to add your comment on YouTube. I'm actually on YouTube now, checking on my phone. So please drop your comments, your takeaway, and any question. And just to mention, if we have women and girls in physics, Grace has been as kindly mentioned that if you want internship or a job opportunity at KEBS, you should reach on LinkedIn, introduce yourself, who you are, and then attach your CV. And who knows, maybe you land there, because she's talked about exciting opportunities, especially in physics at KEBS, Kenya Bureau of Standards, right?
Yes.
Kenya Bureau of Standards, yes. Okay, I have I'm checking. Let me check one. Yeah, someone is asking, what is one piece of advice you would give to girls or women in science?
I have many,
Yes.
but I think uh, if they're still in campus, I will tell them to please know what they want in life and go for what they want in life. Yes.
Know what you want in life and go for that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm also taking notes, because these is wisdom. All right. Anything else, Grace, that you normally talk about? Actually, where did you do your postgrad?
You are in.
Okay. What
Yes.
were you researching for your postgrad at UN?
Masters in nuclear science, and
Okay.
my project for the Cobalt 60, yes, was my area.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Anything else we should touch on this important day of International Day of Women and Girls in Science?
No, I just want to encourage all the young women that science is a very great career. Yes, I'm not saying that the other careers are not good, but you have life in science. And one thing that I love about science is we talk about things that you see. If I'm talking about X-ray, you can see the X-ray is there. You can see the way it's working. You can see the benefit it's doing to the human. So it's a very exciting career, and I've also said it pays. So let us not be scared. Let us feel encouraged. Let us network. I think the biggest fear is usually, am I going to get a job? There are opportunities. Yes, a lot of opportunities nowadays for women in science. Yes, especially for women in physics. So let me narrow down back to physics. So there are opportunities. Don't shy away from science, and science is not difficult. We can all make it. Yes.
Mm,
Yeah.
great, great. When I want as we close, let me check if we have someone who's I can't see any other question here. But yeah, so I like to ask this question to people that I interview, because there is a lot we learn in hindsight. So I know you've mentioned about never giving up as a lesson or piece of advice for women and girls. But then I want you to think of when you were, I don't know, in high school or in university. What is one thing you now wish you had known earlier, especially in this journey as a woman in science? I know we had talked about like these challenges that we do experience, and the fact that we have to work like 3 times sometimes. I don't know if you are aware of that, or just generally, just anything. When you reflect back to when you were in campus, you were just starting uni, and then where you've traveled now. Just something that you wish you had been told earlier, or you wish you had known.
Oh, okay. One thing I wish I had known back in campus is, when one door closes, another one opens. And I'll give you a scenario like even when I finished my fourth year, I had been shortlisted for a job at the Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority. And I was 100% sure, I'm going to get this job at the Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority. So then I went for the interview, and unfortunately, I didn't make it. So I spent like 3 months crying and crying and crying, other than focusing on other opportunities. Yeah. So then I realized, no, if you've gone for this job interview, things didn't work out. Don't be discouraged and just move on and get another job opportunity, because this is already gone. So the amount of time you're spending crying and saying, oh no, maybe the interview was not fair, maybe they discriminated me, that effort is enough for you to put it in something else and even get a much better job. Yes.
For sure, for sure, for
Mhm,
sure.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I will not add anything to that because I can relate, and thank you for sharing. I think if anything else, Grace, you want to touch on, because we are now coming to almost 1 hour, and we are going to end in a few minutes unless I get another question or any comment from the audience. But yeah, anything else we forgot to touch on this day of women and girls?
Maybe just wishing all the women and girls a happy International Women's Day. Because if you allow me to talk, I can talk for the next 2 or 3 hours.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I just wish them a happy International Women's Day, and let them also touch another woman. Because as I
yeah.
mentioned, remember, I'm a product of other women. Yes, I am a product of other women. Yeah. So let them also touch another woman and another woman. Yeah.
Certainly, certainly. Now people are chiming in. Ruth is saying, "Congratulations, Grace. A nuclear community is proud of you." I'm sure
Thank
they
you.
are. Yes, and then Agar is asking, "What is the most physics gift you ladies have ever given for Valentine's?" Grace, have you ever given the most physics thing or received the most physics things on Valentine's?
No, unfortunately, I hadn't really received anything for Valentine, but I give for Valentine. I give Kenya. I give when I'm doing my lab at work. I'm supporting the whole country in general. So unless a guy is planning to surprise me,
Now people have ideas now. Look for the
mm,
most
yeah.
physics looking thing. Okay. Um. Yeah. Those are the last few questions that I have on the chat.
And please tell Ruth she should join me next time.
Ruth, you here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Grace, it's 1 minute to the top of the hour, so we will not hold you. I know you are just coming from a long day, and thank you for creating this time. It was on a short notice, but we thought we should just do something on this particular day. But I know Ruth and the other group are organizing an exciting event geared towards International Day of it will be now International Week of women and girls in science on the weekend. So stay tuned for that. But thank you, Grace. It was a pleasure chatting with you, and thank you for sharing your journey and all these lessons you've learned along the way.
And thank you for hosting me. I'm honored. Yeah.
Not a problem. So let's end there. I will do some editing on this recording, and for guys for on this live stream, and for those of for some of my audience who missed the live stream, then they can get to watch a little bit of whatever we talked about. So thank you, Grace, and have a good, lovely evening.
Same to you. Have a lovely day ahead. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye.